Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Currently in Warzone, we've got a pretty strong SMG meta in the sense that there are multiple options that are just phenomenal. Whether you're looking for something that's got insane movement or that super fast TTK, maybe you want something that's just a bit more balanced across the board. There are so many choices for your specific playstyle, really. And so that said, today I'm going to try my best to narrow down the top 5 best SMGs here in Warzone right now. Not gonna lie, it's difficult to say definitively which 5 are the absolute best, but we are here first up on True Game Data, taking a look at some of the top tier SMG options. I did want to include a couple of MW3 choices because there actually are some pretty competitive ones. So we've got the Superi, we've got the Striker there, the C9, we know this has been a popular choice, the KSV, the Kompakt, the PP919 has been really popular up until this point as well this half season, PPSH, the SOG, the Jackal. So when we go through, we look at combination shots and 300 health for the most accurate stats possible, courtesy of True Game Data. Of course, site is always linked down in the description below. We get a pretty competitive graph. We are only looking out to 40 meters because, let's be real here, you're probably not using an SMG at any range beyond that. Typically, you don't even want to be using a lot of these options between, 25 meters and beyond. 0 to 25, sort of that prime point. That's obviously where they're going to be the most efficient. Beyond that, you're looking at sniper support choices outright. You're looking at rifles, so on and so forth. But there are a few obvious things we can do to narrow this down to top 5. Initially, the Jackal. Obviously, this was such a go-to choice for so long, pretty much up until season 2 when it started to get nerfed more. Yeah, its close range TTK is slow in that first 10 meters compared to the other choices. It drops off earlier. That's just not a super viable option there. Unfortunately, the PP919 is kind of the same now. They really nerfed this thing hard compared to other SMGs that were very competitive with it with season 2 and season 2 reloaded. So unfortunately, again, a little bit of a slower TTK up close, than a really harsh drop off. It's super easy to use and it's certainly a competitive option, but it's not top 5 worthy, at least in my own opinion. So we're down to 7 now. We still gonna knock 2 options off here. I think a couple of obvious mainstays gonna be things like the Kompakt, quickest TTK up close, but also a really good damage drop off as well. It's really good up through about 20 meters. The KSV, a little bit slower up close, but has almost no drop off over range as well. And the C9 is one of those options that's just consistent through and through there. So then you get into sort of these super specific details. Another one that I look at is the SOG, where decently competitive TTK up close, but then it does start to drop off pretty quick as well. And unfortunately, I just, again, don't think that one's quite there in the top 5. And then lastly here, I'd probably be looking to knock out the Striker. Despite the fact that it's got an insane damage range here up through about 20 meters and a decent drop off, the MW3 feel there is certainly a bit of a letdown compared to some of these other BO6 options. And where these fights take place, that feel is such an important factor across the board. The setup for it is a little bit awkward as well with like iron sights versus scopes and whatnot. You can't use gunfighters. So it's a really, really good choice. But in terms of true competitive options, you're just not going to see many people defaulting to the Striker. So now we're left with the Superi, which, yeah, it's got a pretty crazy drop off past its first damage range. Luckily, you can extend that out some, but that's a mobility SMG. The sprint speed, the tac sprint speed on that is just so insane that its first damage range is super easy to navigate into because you can fly around the map. C9, as I said, super balanced. KSV, great range. Kompakt, great TTK. PPSH, bit of both. Fantastic TTK and fantastic range. So now that we've got our 5 deliberately, picked out here, let's go in game. Let's break down the best setups for these. Of course, if you enjoy the video as we do so, you find the info helpful, a like rating is always really appreciated. And if you are new to the channel, or maybe you have not subscribed yet, every single day I got you covered with all things going on in COD, so feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. So at number 5 here, I've got the Superi. Clearly, as we saw on the graph there, this is a good gun in its first damage range, and beyond that, it's really nothing special. The reason this is, though, a top 5 gun is just purely that movement speed combined with that first damage range. There really isn't another option in the game that's going to give you a movement speed like this while also being able to just fire and get into an engagement whenever you want, because it's still quick with sprint to fire and ADS, and it can kill quick as well. So if you're looking to just finesse, break some ankles, maybe this is the go-to option here for sure. So we're mainly focused on mobility, increasing attachments here. We do have high grain to help out that range, extends that out to just over 11 meters. Then we also have the 40 round extended mag on there, but beyond that, Rescue 9 stock, helping out with attack, sprint speed, movement speed, sprint speed as well. A little bit of control too, which is nice. Jack slash, some control, but also better sprint speed and movement speed. And then the short barrel, better sprint to fire, better ADS, better movement speed as well. So going all in on mobility here means we are as fast as we can possibly be, and this thing is just an absolute joy to run around with. It is so much fun. Now at number 4, I've got the KSV. This is a tricky little scenario here. Quite frankly, 4, 3, 2, and 1, I think you could truly argue any of them for number 1. Like, this is the most competitive SMG meta I think we've probably seen in Black Ops 6 Warzone, and maybe just Warzone in general, in quite some time. But with the KSV, really it's just a matter of how you want to approach using this. If it's going to be your base secondary, pairing it with a rifle or, you know, an LMG or something, it's going to be good there, but you're gonna have to build it differently versus if you wanted to build it for like sniper support, where it really thrives, right? So you can build this a bunch of different ways with 5 attachments or 8 attachments. I'm going for just a basic 5 attachment option here. Using the iron sights, that's another thing, is like, do you like the irons? Do you need a red dot or a slate or something? You can absolutely either upgrade to gunfighter to get that, swap out something like a balanced stock if you wanted to, but personally I like the strafe and the movement that balanced offers. Obviously extended 2 is a no-brainer. 50 rounder, that'll work fine for all squad sizes. Ranger foregrip, you get better control horizontally, so the weapon's way more predictable, then better sprinting movement speed as well, so you're also faster. That's a win-win. Long barrel, extending out that damage range even more, almost out to 20. Fantastic as well. And then also the compensator, just so the weapon's as easy as possible up close. Really like this for a 5 attachment setup. It's incredibly you know, consistent. But again, if you wanted to upgrade to gunfighter and throw in an optic or rear grip, you know, recoil springs, you could absolutely do so as well. Now at number 3, I've got the PPSH. This thing's range is just absurd. It's still a little bit awkward to use just because of the feel here. It's not going to have the fastest ADS and the fastest sprint to fire and the fastest, you know, jump sprint to fire or whatever else all at the same time. It's a lot of you're picking one versus the other. Do you really want a quick ADS? Do you really want good movement? Do you really want a good sprint to fire? Just because the way that the stocks work, essentially combining stocks and rear grips into one attachment category. Not sure why they did this, but they did. Personally, I lean towards the agility stock for the better ADS and strafe. I just really like the feel of that. But ergonomic is fantastic for slide to fire and strafe. Combat stock is good for a slide to fire and a sprint to fire there. Quick draw is fantastic for the best ADS. Balanced is good for movement. So just depending on how you want this gun to feel, you can pick your poison there accordingly. Extended 2 is going to be 55. Quite frankly, the DPM still not going to be incredible with that, just because we're at a 952 RPM. So you're going to burn through ammo, but that's the max option here, obviously. Ranger foregrip, yet again, some control and some mobility. Long barrel giving us that range out over 20 meters, which is just insane for an SMG. And then again, the compensator, especially helpful here with the iron sight build, so it'll be easy to use, decently quick here, but this thing does just melt when you land your shots. Now at number 2, I've got the Kompakt. Its TTK is essentially unmatched in the close range. This thing just straight up melts. Now the damage per mag, again, is a concern. You burn through ammo with this, and so if you're not landing your shots, you're gonna have to stop to reload mid-fight. But if you are landing your shots, you're gonna have all the time in the world to reload, because no one's gonna be around you, because you just absolutely destroyed them all, because this thing just rips through everyone, right? So for that reason, I really value accuracy just a ton on this setup. Going for the compensator, vertical control. Ranger foregrip, control movement, but if you really want to, again, go all in on just recoil control straight up, you could go for vertical and get even more horizontal control out of that. Then I also go for the recoil springs on there too, giving me better horizontal and vertical control outright. On top of that, ergonomic rear grip, better slide to fire and ADS, so the weapon's even more aggressive in the close range where that fast TTK shines. And then extended 3. Only a 60 though on a 1091 RPM, so like I said, the damage per mag is not great, but as long as you can land shots with this setup, it's easy to do so. You're gonna be fine. This thing will melt. And then lastly, at number 1, the C9. I just think it's the most balanced out of everything here. It doesn't necessarily have the greatest movements in one area, doesn't have the greatest TTK or the greatest range in another. It's just good with all of those, so you don't really have to pick your poison here. This is the do-it-all SMG. It's just going to be fantastic in everything, so definitely the most balanced without being overpowered in one way or another here. Again, I go for the compensator. Just I'm really comfortable with the recoil control that this adds, and it really makes the weapon a bit more versatile and easy to use out in 20, 25, 30 meter fights, right? Long barrel, again, extending out that damage range to just over 15 meters. That's fantastic. Ranger foregrip, control and mobility, making it even more aggressive and easy to use. 50 round extended 2 here works fine with a 732 RPM. Not going to be a huge concern with damage per mag there. Then again, I really like ergonomic rear grip for the slide to fire and the ADS. It just works well for those close range engagements. So this thing is going to be just so reliable and so consistent. every single fight. But that being said, that's how the current SMG meta breaks down. It is so competitive, and I think that's fantastic. Drop me your favorite option down in the comments below while you're at it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, you want to guarantee that every single day you were in the know for all things going on in COD, feel free to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.